name is Dalek Omega, and welcome to this October edition of Digging Up Positivity!
Hello and welcome to the October edition of Digging Up Positivity. This month we are pleased to see all the conventions returning, and with that all those lovely charities that they support. The featurette of this month is Cassidy Civet, known by many as that critter that appeared at the Eurovision Song Festival, but by all means this feline is not limited by just that. But first, let's start with this month's charitable highlights. We are starting at the Fontana Dam Resort with Furry Takeover, where they raised $1,600 for the Never You 1031 to help them recover from Hurricane Ida. At the end of September, I was part of this amazing team from Eurofurence Online. For 4 days we broadcasted from the Maritime Hotel in Magdeburg that once was a place for Eurofurence itself, and the result was that we raised over $4,658 so far, because the Eurofurence web store is still open and all the money that is being made from that web store is still flowing in it, adding to the total amount for the Cheetah Preservation Foundation. This year, the wonderful thematic con of Wild North in the United Kingdom was still being held online, with the theme The Tales of the Seven Seas, with various stories and quizzes and games throughout the entire weekend on Twitch. The viewers did their best to raise $825 for the Newcastle Dog and Cat Shelter. Next year, they will return to their classic form with this amazing team, Mythical Beasts, and seeing their promo, they are really getting in the mood. And from Detroit, we had 1,172 attendees raising $12,569 for Detroit Hives, an organization devoted to transform the vacant lots in the city of Detroit into urban bee farms for the conservation of honeybees. The Western Pennsylvania Furry Weekend had 392 attendees raising $13,358.75 for the Spirit of Wildlife, an organization that focuses on creating a more sustainable future for all living things through education, biodiversity preservation, and a culture of appreciation of the natural world. And with this year, this convention has raised over $70,000 in charity since 2005. Quite impressive, don't you think? At the biggest little Furcon, there was a charity blackjack tournament being held where Okami beat 36 other players to win. But the biggest winner was Safe Haven Wildlife Sanctuary, as the tournament raised $820 for them. Now that's what I call a win-win situation. I am so very happy to see all these conventions starting up again, and we are slowly heading towards the end of this year. And as you know, every year I make a furry charity index, documenting all the good things we have done as a fandom. And if you know any of the GoFundMe's, charity drives, or other conventions with a charity attached to it, please do use the form in the description below and submit this very event, charity, or a fundraiser, so we can make this list as complete as possible. This month is Spooky Month, and of course elements of spookiness infiltrate into our show. One of them is Dalek Omega, a returning guest who took over the intro of this very episode. Despite the Dalek Omega being part of the most evil empire from the Who universe, he not so secretly also works on fundraisers and turns up on events as For the Love of Horror. a lovely fantasy horror event in the United Kingdom, and of course, much fun was had. A few episodes ago, you could win that lovely book Art and Biro from Paco Panda's successful Kickstarter campaign. After this, things have gotten a little bit silent, but now we are switching over to Panda for a not so live report on the status of shipping all these books.
Hi, I'm Paco Panda. I want to show you how my house looks like right now. It looks like a post office. There are so many boxes, many envelopes, many books. This would be a paradise for any cat. This thing of being administering orders, signing books, drawing pictures inside the books, putting orders together, sending books by mail, it has been taking way more time than I imagined. So yeah, I'm taking longer than I expected to ship all the orders. We have already shipped around 50 orders, but there are still around 450 more orders to go. Bear with me, I promise that little by little I will be sending all the remaining orders. Again, thank you very much for all your support. I really appreciate being able to see these books already printed. And very soon you will have yours in your hands. Thank you for making this project a reality.
Moths are often misunderstood. Often they are being looked down upon, but when you look closer, they're actually quite beautiful, fluffy creatures. EndLab has made a lovely video about this, filming them in slow motion, thus giving you a perfect moment to sit back and enjoy the beauty of these rare, dare I say it, flufftastic animals. Alex Henderson, known from that amazing Donkey Kong Country video clip from last month, has not been sitting idly by. He has released a sneak peek for his next project, the Rhino and the Redbill. And sure, it did pique my interest. Besides the stellar animation, the bits and pieces of the story shown really make me wonder what weird and wonderful world this story will unfold itself.
You know, since the drought, you gotta make do with whatever you come across.
And now for a featurette, our special guest for this episode. Thank you very much for taking your time with digging up positivity. And I hereby welcome Cassidy Civet, wonderful singer extraordinaire. And could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm Cassidy Civet. I am a furry singer, musician. I write all my own music. I publish it under the name Cassidy Civet, which is my fur name, of course. I live in Vancouver, Canada. I'm a dual Canadian-Italian citizen. I have a YouTube channel. I go to a lot of cons. I have been to 24 cons so far in my life. And I'm a civet, and there's not a lot of civets in the fandom, and also I have hair, and represent my fur friends out there who don't have hair, gotta represent, and yeah, that's about me, that's Cassidy.
Alright, and besides the lovely hair and the lovely snoot that is so boopable, of course, you can sing. And I saw a little bit from you at the Eurovision Song Festival, I believe, and I started to look into it. I bumped into the Good Furry Award, and I was nominated, but you really stole the show. Could you tell us something about your wonderful singing and what inspired you?
Well, yeah, I was in the Eurovision Song Contest. I was in like the fan recaps where like fans of the competition could send in videos where they were like singing or dancing with the songs of the given year. And I was in it for 2020 and for 2021. So I got seen by a lot of people from all over the world. I don't know what those videos are sitting at now view-wise, but probably like 100,000 views-ish, probably. In terms of my inspirations when it comes to music, it can be just so many things. It can be from my personal life, like, you know, emotional, relationship stuff. But it can also just be a story that I really want to tell. In the same way that, you know, maybe basing music off of my real life doesn't necessarily, you know, pull in, like, furry themes, you know, because as much as I'd like to be a real walking talking civet, I'm not. So I can pull from fiction. I like creating these stories, and I just want to enthrall the listener with these tales that I can weave with music and lyrics and put the package together. And there's just so much that can be explored with music and lyrics, and it matters a lot to me.
Yeah, I really saw that. I got your discography from Bandcamp. I will put the link in the description. I really recommend it. The songs are very diverse when it comes down to musical taste. And my favorite so far is the song about border, I believe. That really hit me on a special level. But you also got nominated for the Good Furry Award. Do tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I got nominated for the Good Furry Award 2021. Thanks to Ask Papa Bear for making this award happen. This is the third year it's happened. And yeah, I got nominated a few times. I think I got 2 or 3 nominations. And then when the vote came down, I ended up winning out against some, what I considered pretty stiff competition, you know? It's like, you see some of these names on the voting list, like Adler Eagle or like Pepper Coyote, people who literally have dozens of thousands of followers, and I won that. And I think I won because of a perfect storm of, like, when the voting was happening in like May of the year or like April, that was right when the Eurovision videos dropped, and I was doing good on TikTok and then YouTube, so it all kind of compounded. And I'm also kind of like small enough of a creator too, where, you know, I think some of the as stacked of a list of nominations as there were, you know, I don't know if someone like Adler noticed, you know, that they got nominated necessarily, because certainly if they just like tweeted, they're like, everyone go vote for me, they probably would have won. But I was small enough where it's like, even the prize of $500, that really helped me a lot in a big way. And it really helped me when I went on my con tour back in August and September. So, and I have the trophy on my shelf here somewhere. It's on this shelf, the one I'm gesturing to. But I don't know if you can see it because it's transparent, so I don't know if you can see it that well. But it is up there. So, and I'm very proud to have won that. I'm also the only winner so far of the Ask Papa Bear Award for the Good Furry Award that actually wrote to his advice column before. I wrote to the advice column back, I think, in like 2015 and 2016, like really early when I was just getting into the fandom. I asked him for advice 3 times. I wrote him 3 letters. And even he was like, wow, you know, you're the first winner to have actually written to my column before. And I'm like, yeah, I love what you do, and I love the service, you know, the advice column for furries. That's so great. And I really like that I won that, but that I actually can rep it and be like, I wrote to him and he helped me out. And now I won the award that he ran like 6 years later. There's so much to do in this fandom, and it's all connected.
The Padawan has become the master. But, I mean, this whole journey started with one point. How did you get to know the fandom?
Whoa. I know.
Ooh, did I go deep?
You've like pulled the thread of the sweater, and now you're gonna start to pull the whole thing. Because I know some people have really clear answers, you know, where they're like, oh, I saw the CSI episode and I googled it, and that's how I found the fandom. Or I know somebody who saw a newspaper ad for the convention, and that's how they found it. It's not that clear for me, unfortunately. I made my first Fur Affinity account in 2012, so I knew what the fandom was, but at that point I didn't have a Sona, I didn't really know much about it. I just knew that there was a site that had like art that I enjoyed looking at. But I went to my first convention in 2016, so from 2012 to 2016, that's like the gray zone there where I was still kind of finding my footing. I discovered Civet in, I think, 2013, 2014, and I made my character around 2014. And she hasn't really changed much. I was always a Civet. I never had anything before Civet. I use characters as like my icons in various places, so I always kind of had those inclinations. Like, I use Christopherson from Fantastic Mr. Fox as my icon in a lot of places. I use Jeffrey St. John from the Archie comics, the Archie Sonic comics as my icon in a lot of places. So I always had like those leanings of like, yeah, I like the skunk, or I like, you know, the fox, but I never had a character that was like a fox or a skunk. So I was just like, I like those characters, but I never thought to make mine. It wasn't until I found Civets where I was like, I'm making a character now. And it just clicked like right away. But I didn't find the convention, and I didn't jump into the scene until like 2016, which was my first convention, the local Vancouver to me. That is a big part of it. I also like to joke too, because I also had like those the pictures of cartoon characters I liked in my locker at school. I always say I think I got bullied for being a furry before I actually knew that I was a furry. Because I get to smell it, you know? Like, some people are more internet savvy than me, which is totally fair. I'm not that savvy. But I like that. I'm like, I knew I was going to get to this place eventually. Like, I even did a year, I even was a brony for like a year. In like 2012 to 2013, I was in that, and then I wasn't in it anymore. So there was a period where there was like an overlap between the brony and just the start of the furry thing. But I only was in the brony stuff for like a year, so I didn't go to any cons for that. I don't really consider it the same level of fandom engagement that I was at the time, but it's all those things that add up to where I am now. So I like it. You know, it's all those pieces coming together.
You took your own time, you took your own speed, and you got at a place where you feel yourself comfortable, and it shows with the music you make. Because if you don't feel comfortable, or if you don't have that base, I think that it really reflects in your art, right? And well, but with this wonderful journey that you have been telling about, what is your favorite moment in the fandom, or one of your favorite moments?
One of the most validating moments was when I was asked to be a musical guest at Texas Furry Fiesta in 2020, because they saw me at FC 2019, Further Confusion in San Jose, California. 2019, that was my first FC, and it was like one of my first American cons, and they have a big talent show, so I was like, I'm gonna do the talent show. And I had like one original song out, and I had no fursuit at that time. So I just did the talent show in my Kigu, just singing someone else. I didn't even sing my original, I sang a cover. And they approached me and they're like, hey, would you be interested in being a musical performer in 2020? And I'm like, that's like more than a year from now. Okay. And so in that year, between those two things, I got my suit, I got my album done, I did so much, and then I went from just performing in my Kigu at a talent show, and then 13 months later, a musical guest with a concert and a fursuit and an album at this convention. So I consider that span of time to be just like bang, bang. It's just like so significant to me. It means a lot.
Burning
And
slow
I'm
at
like,
first and propelling yourself into the sky. Yeah.
Yeah, it takes time, you know. Like, I haven't been a guest of honor yet, officially. Musical guest is a different distinction from guest of honor. But maybe one day. Maybe one day, fingers crossed.
There's hoping, and a lot of people that are having rather high places at conventions are watching right now, so you heard the Civet. So
I'm available.
But with this wonderful journey, is there any recommendation for people that just find the fandom, or just in general? Do you have any recommendations for them?
I think my advice depends on how old the person I'm talking to is. If you're a kid, if you're an early teen kind of person like I was when I just started getting into it, I would recommend, personally, based off my own experiences, I do recommend telling your parents at least a little bit if they'll be okay with it. Like, I know that some parents are not as cool with it as, like, mine were And I know that there's like a point where it's like, I feel like they might not have let me go to cons or whatever when I was still that age. But just make sure that if you go to meet somebody somewhere, if you're early in the fandom, please make sure you let somebody know. But if you're an adult, just go for it, you know? Just try it out. Go to the con. You don't need a suit. You don't need a sona. You don't need a cool, funny badge name. You just show up and just start talking to people. And that's the scariest thing, really, is that's the role I tend to fill when I'm at cons, when I was, whether I'm staff or I'm just hanging out, is that a lot of furries suffer from social anxiety, and that tends to be the biggest obstacle for people, whether it's to get to a con or when they're at a con, they're just they're paralyzed, they're overwhelmed, and everyone is feeling the same way. Everyone has been there. You are not special in your social awkwardness. You're at a furry convention, okay? This is a fandom that was built off of socially awkward people, okay? Just say hello, go to a panel, just try and loosen up a bit, because it'll pay off. I promise you it'll pay off. You're going to meet some amazing people, and even at Texas Furry Siesta, a few weeks ago, I was in fursuit with my Bluetooth speaker just dancing around the lobby in full fursuit, and I saw this guy just chilling against the wall by himself, and he really gave me those oh, this is his first con vibes. So I went over to him in fursuit, and I just start dancing in front of him, and we're just start dancing together, and then a few weeks ago, he messages me just on Telegram. He's like, "Hey, thank you for dancing with me. It was my first con." And I'm like, "I knew it." So I'm like, "Break the ice. Don't be afraid. Just say hello to people. No one's gonna judge you. It's a furry convention. It's this is the place to be awkward, to do weird things. Just be yourself and be yourself in the most honest and sincere way that you can be, because people will appreciate it. You don't need to put on a front. You don't need to pretend to be the cool guy at the FurCon. Believe me. Everyone there is dressing up in big, silly cartoon animal costumes, okay? You're fine. Just have a good time."
And what I see here is that you approached him and you made his first con one to remember. You made his first impression of this fandom a good one. And that is what I like about this fandom. People like you, I've seen it with several other people as well, that welcome and accept others and just make their first experience so wonderful that they stay along, and maybe they will grow out to be a wonderful singer, a wonderful fursuit maker, an artist, or maybe they just enjoy themselves and have a good place in the furry fandom, and they wouldn't have never gone through it if their first experience wasn't a good one. So thank you for that. And with this, I would like to thank you very much for taking your time. I know you have a very busy schedule, but you made it here, and the links to your socials are in the description below. I would like to thank you with all of my heart that you stay awesome, and I will watch your career with great interest.
Thank you. I really appreciate you having me on for the interview. I love that you spread the positivity and stuff. I will mention the first video I saw from you was the charity totals for 2019, and that's something I cite a lot when I talk to people, or I'm talking to people that are asking questions about the fandom. It's oh, what do you do at these conventions? It's well, here's the big money numbers that we raise. That's something we do. It's it's such a good thing, and it's so positive that even if someone doesn't like furries on the surface, they hear that, and it takes them so off guard. They're like, whoa. And I love that a lot. So thank you for everything that you do.
Thank you. And with that, we have arrived at the very end of this episode. This month, we are giving away this lovely Thabo Meerkat pin to a random response on last video saying that they want one. And thus, a very big congratulations to the Poetry Ninja. Please do use the form below to send your details so I can verify them. You have up to the next episode to respond, which is November 27th. And for next month, we have this lovely t-shirt from my artworktee.com store saying, I don't know, I'm just a mere cat. Perfect for those December dinner conversations when people ask you weird questions. Want one? You know the drill, let me know in the comments. And this brings us truly to the end of the show. And I would like to thank you all for watching. And an extra thanks goes to those wonderful critters for sponsoring my channel through Patreon and Subscribestar. Cosmic with a K, Els Dekkers, Valconeo, Hanzana, Ishnula, Kitako, Tentru McNally, Taros and Scoretracer. And of course, let's not forget Johnsky S for making that awesome outro music that is oh so fitting for this month. Thank you all really so much. I'll see you back in November 27th with a very awesome bear from the USA who is very active with charities within the fandom. And of course, to all of you, all the hugs.
Taking up positivity this month. Taking up positivity this month. Taking up this month.